Okay, then this next button, this gray button here, that is a phase reversal. I can take the microphone signal coming in, which is positive and negative, and I can phase reverse it. So now it's negative and positive. What happens with phasing? Do you remember that lecture where the sound leaves and travels at 1,100 feet a second and then gets picked up on the first microphone and then travels 1,100 feet a second to get picked up on the second microphone that's such a distance away? Well, they're going 186,000 miles a second in the wire, so when they join together down there, that time difference is a factor because the waves are going 1,000 cycles a second, so 1,000 of these in a second. If it was a half a second delay or a quarter of a second delay, that would be 250 waves have gone by for that pitch by the time it got over to that next mic. So it's a big factor because the phasing thing, when they're combined, if they're in their opposing, they'll cancel out and you'll lose that part of the sound. So it's important to us. Well, when we have the drum set up, we've got a kick drum mic down here, and 2 feet away from it, or less than 2 feet, 18 inches, is a snare drum mic. And then another 18 inches up here are 2 overhead condenser mics, real sensitive mics. So you can be doggone sure that the kick drum hears the snare drum, and the snare drum mic hears the kick drum, and the overheads hear the snare, and so they all hear. So that means that there's a phase relationship between these 4 microphones in this drum set. It all depends on how many fractions of an inch that mic is moved. You can move it a fraction of an inch and change the phase relationship. Or you can go to the snare drum, this is something that you could try, and put the snare drum mic out of phase and listen to it. Listen to the drums with the mic in phase and then put the snare drum mic out of phase, because the snare drum mic is in the middle. So it's hearing the kick and whatever the overheads are hearing also. So if you put it out of phase with the kick and the overhead, you might just get a cleaner drum sound, and then again, you might make it worse. It's what this guy's telling you. Now we come to these 2 buttons. Now these 2 buttons on the bottom here are 2 buttons that are going to say, well, what is this channel going to listen to today? Is it going to listen to my tape input? Is it going to listen to my line input? Or is it going to listen to the mic input? Meaning, which one of these plugs is this channel actually going to accept? I have this button. If I push the line button down, that means that it will hear the line input. Then that's what's going into this channel. Now, if the line button is up and this orange button is up, that means the microphone is going into the channel. If I push the orange button down, that means the tape return is going into the channel. You see? So now I have a way to select what this channel is going to hear. I could have another mixer that mixed a bunch of things and then take its output and put it in here. But it would still be seeing one signal, at a time. Even though there might be multiple things that were mixed on this other mixer, that would be called a sub-mixer. And that happens when you don't have enough inputs here, and yet you got a whole string section to mic. Well, you get another mixer, plug all the strings into that, maybe 6, 8 mics on the strings, and then sub-mix them down to stereo, and then come into here, left and right 2 channels, and now you've got them sub-mixed, and you've got 8 extra inputs. Do you follow that? Okay. So that would be okay, but this channel only wants to see one signal at a time. So I have to select, what am I going to listen to, and how am I going to affect that?